Welcome back, guys. It's Naham. Today we're just going to be going over my ideas on why you should stop playing video games.
Oh, no!
Video games is something that's been part of our everyday lives. It's been exposed to us at a very young age. For me, myself, it was when I was really small. I think it was the PS1 is the first console that I was ever introduced to. And it's obviously been around my life. It's been around my life for a long time. So I feel like for what I have to say, should at least account for something, because up until a couple months ago, I just recently stopped playing games, and it's helped me in my life a lot. I feel like it's something that everyone should do. This is just something that I'm suggesting. You don't have to actually apply to it if you don't want to, but I obviously always recommend anything I post. I always recommend doing. Okay, so let's just get right into the point. The first reason I think you should stop playing video games is it consumes a lot of our time. Like I was saying before, and I'll always say on this channel, is time is everything. Time is the most valuable thing in the world, and it's something obviously we can never get back. And that's why I think video games is a no-go, because it takes up all that time. Just like going back to social media, those two things correlate in the same way, where it takes up our time, right? So if we can give that up, we can invest that time into something that's exponentially better. Okay, it's going to be hard cutting it off, like I was saying, because it's something that's been involved for a while now. It's been exposed to us since we were small. So with that, my tips, I just over time stop playing it gradually. So with just the only tip I can give is just over time watch how long you're spending, and just cut it down by certain increments. One thing gamers won't admit that I would never admit when I was younger, but I can account to now, thinking back at it, is that gamers really don't have an outside to refer to. Once the moment they take off their headphones, they go do something. They don't really have a life to live, if I'm being honest here. They don't really have maybe a job to go to. They don't really have much social interactions with people. They find it hard to socialize with people, right? So that's why they kind of fall back into, just constant repetition of playing the game. But if we're all being honest here, cutting off video games, what more do you have in life? What more can you do, right? So that's why you fall back into this cycle of just constantly consuming video games, right? And that's just something that you have to build. You have to, with that, I really couldn't tell you what you could do, just besides stop playing by bit. Try to do something, whether it be interacting with your family more, talking to more people. This kind of has to just step out of your comfort zone. This is a big change. The moment they stop playing, they go do something. Like I was saying, video games also can correlate to attention span. We're really exciting ourselves with what we're playing, to where anything else besides games is just so boring. In most cases, gamers don't really have much to do. That's why they're just constantly doing that, playing games, right? Because they have nothing to do. And that's something that needs to change. You need to find something to do. And if you think about it, right, if you start achieving something in life, how is that any different from a game, right? In a game, you don't just get something given to you, right? You have to, over time, earn that reward. You have to upgrade whatever it is that you're playing. So if you're in a game where you have to upgrade your person, you have to earn everything that you obtain. So if you could somehow correlate that mindset from your game into real life, it's the exact same thing. That's something that you can easily apply, and it really helps. Another thing is that if you really think about it, right, we're putting all this time and effort into a game, right, like a specific game, like Call of Duty, for instance, right? I used to think that I was working towards something, right? I was, for instance, on a game where I was trying to earn a camo, right, where I had this idea that, if I'm unlocking a camera, I'm doing something productive. No, because eventually later on down in the line, the game's gonna die out, and all that time and money that you spent into the game is just now for what? It's done. And one thing people always get confused about games is we think that we're enjoying the time, which in certain times we are, but it's the main reason why we enjoy video games is it's the social interaction with other people, right? We're in a party with someone, we're talking to them, we're having fun, right? We're talking about different stuff, but that's because we're actually talking to someone, right? I'm pretty sure you could think back to all those times where you're playing by yourself, you're just super bored, you don't know what to do, and then the moment a friend invites you, everything just gets better. So separate those two. You take away social interactions on games. What do you got? You got yourself and the game, and that tends to get a little boring. And another excuse that a lot of gamers use is that they are investing all the time to get better in a game, right? But they're just using that as an excuse to keep doing what they're doing. Whereas if you really think about it, all those competitive teams that are actually playing in like the competitive fields, they're actually having to sit there and work, right? They're sitting there working, and they're actually just constantly doing the same thing over and over, getting better at it. Whereas they're in some way, shape, or form working to get better at that performance in the game. And if you were to compare that to your excuses on playing the game, are you really sitting there continuously hours on end improving your skill to get better at that? Probably not. Or you ever like go to someone's house, or you know, and then they stop playing their game. They just seem sluggish, they just seem tired all the time, they just seem like they don't have much energy in the day. And that's some of the reasons of playing too much video games, is you spend too much of that energy into the game, so where after a while, which in my cases I could definitely recall thinking back to where I'd, you know, go get a quick snack break and I just feel tired, and I wouldn't want to do anything else for the rest of the day, because just sitting there, right, doing nothing. And don't feel like you're the only ones that is doing something unproductive, right? If you think about your parents, right, or your relatives, they're over here saying, oh, you need to stop playing games, when they're still watching TV shows, watching movies. That's the same thing, that's just for them, right? So if you think about it, adults, their video games is movies and YouTube or whatever. And then for most girls, not all girls, is social media, right? They're sitting there watching hours on end of videos. Okay, so don't feel like you're the only ones, right? We all have our own specific categories to where we're putting our time and energy into. And will I still be playing video games? Of course. You know, there's gonna be times where I'm gonna go to a social event, or I'm at a party, or I'm somewhere where everyone's playing the game, right? Of course I'm not gonna wanna be the outsider. I'm gonna, you know, wanna tag along, see what they're doing, you know, enjoy it. And that's the only times I think you should really apply video games, is when everyone's doing it, you know, everyone's in a social interaction, and yeah, you just play the game, right? But when it comes to being by myself, I don't think I'll play. And those are all just my thoughts on the idea of video games. Like I was saying, this isn't something that you don't have to do if you don't want to. It's something I always will recommend to anyone. Just even if you don't want to completely cut it out of your life, which I understand, just drop the time you're consuming on it really low. You know, invest that time more into something else. Thank you again for clicking on this video again, guys. I hope whatever I said can apply to some of you and open up your mind to different ideas of what you're doing, and help some of you lower down that time of the consumption. All right, have a good day, guys.